Hi, I'm Kristine Leahy, and this is another edition of Best Thing I Heard This Week. Al Michaels let us know why he wasn't surprised about the NFL's move to Los Angeles.
Stan Kroenke has the land, and the lease was up in St. Louis.
And you know Stan Kroenke.
I know Stan, and he's a Missourian. So even though I'm sure the people in St. Louis can't stand him right now, I mean, this was not a thing that didn't create a little pain for him as well. And everybody's going to say, who cares? Because he's going to make a lot of money. I don't think this is a money thing. Look, everybody wants to make money. Nobody wants to lose money. You want to make more money. I get that. But this market, it's been denigrated. People say, oh, L.A. lost 2 football teams and they're all surfing on Sundays in the fall. No, you're going to be able to fill 65 to 70,000 seats easily. And I've told this to people before. Colin, when I moved out here as a kid, the first time I went to the Coliseum in 1958, you can look this up, November 2nd, 1958, Chicago Bears at Los Angeles Rams. Phenomenal game. Rams won at 41-35. The attendance, 100,000, 470. 100,470 in 1958 before the NFL is the NFL as we know it. So if you can put 100,000 tuckuses in a seat.
In the
seats,
50s.
There you go. In the 50s. You're going to tell me you can't put 70,000 people into a stadium?
Domonique Foxworth talked about playing against Peyton Manning.
Peyton is always 100% a mental game with Peyton. And when I've had success and the teams that I've played with have had success against Peyton, it's trying to be one step ahead of him. Peyton would know exactly where you're going to be. So you knew, if Peyton knew where I was going to be, I know where Peyton's going to go, so I won't be there. And it was just a kind of a chess match. So one game we're playing in Baltimore, and Peyton throws a deep comeback to Reggie Wayne, and I'm covering him. He catches it. He hurries back to the line of scrimmage, same formation. So we know when he does that, often that means they're going to repeat the play. So I look back at Ed, and that means I'm going to sit on this comeback and pick it off, and Ed will cover me over top. So I sit on the comeback, and Reggie runs by me because him and Peyton know if someone sits on the comeback, you turn it into a go. So Reggie runs by me, and Peyton throws it up for what he thought was an easy touchdown. But Ed, knowing that I'm going to sit 2 steps away, Peyton checks the safety. Ed takes 2 steps to the left, goes back to the right, picks it off. And that's how you have to play Peyton Manning.
Ken Burns told us how influential Jackie Robinson was, and not just in the world of baseball.
His is an interesting post-baseball story that no one ever tells. The pre-baseball story is his heroic mother, Mally, who gets that family out of Jim Crow, meaning I don't know whether my kid's going to come home from school because somebody might shoot them or kill them.
It's a remarkably sad part of America.
And he comes to Pasadena, and he grows up in Pasadena in the enlightened California, but Pasadena has its own Jim Crow. The swimming pool is off limits to the African Americans and Hispanic and Asians, except on International Day, when those folks get to swim, and then as the city fathers assure the good citizens of Pasadena that the pool will be drained and cleaned for the other 6 days of the week.
Wow.
And so a cross is burned on his house at 121 Pepper Street. All the epithets you can imagine that are going to prefigure what he has to go through as the first African American. So what happens is that he comes down to us as just the story of 1946 and 1947, which is heroic.
Yes.
Turning the other cheek, all of the things that he did, playing spectacularly, lifting the Dodgers up, but knowing the kind of human being he was, both competitive and angry and feisty, which makes the turning of the cheek even more impressive. And then what happens to him after he no longer has to turn the other cheek? All of a sudden he's uppity. This guy who'd been even lauded in the white press suddenly becomes somebody we don't want. Think of the oldest picture of Jackie Robinson. He's bent, he's stooped, he's white-haired. He looks like he's 85 years old. He's 53. The coroner's report says congestive heart failure and diabetes, but I think he died because of the load that he carried. I mean, he walked through the door. Think about when he came up. There weren't organized sit-ins at lunch counters. Rosa Parks wasn't going to refuse to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, although Jackie had done that 11 or so years earlier in 44 on a military bus at Fort Hood and got court-martialed and got acquitted. So all of a sudden you begin to see that he is the first progress in civil rights since the Civil War. He is, as King said, a sit-inner before sit-ins, a freedom rider before freedom rides. And then you begin to understand that Jackie's importance isn't just the most important person in the history of baseball. I'm not saying he's the greatest baseball player.
But it's the most crucial.
The most crucial moment. And just think, in every single stadium, his number is retired. When Mariano Rivera, who consciously chose 42 as his number, retired, no one else can use that number. And on April 15th this year, as it is every year, every single player will wear his name. It's a kind of I am Spartacus moment where everybody stands up and says, know him, know me.
Peter Schrager gave us some insight into which college QB he thinks could be the guy at the NFL draft.
Get ready for the Carson Wentz train, all right? Put on your buckles, whatever it is. I don't know. This guy's going to be at the Senior Bowl next week down in Mobile, Alabama. He's the North Dakota State quarterback, all right?
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. He's 6'6", has a big arm, and everyone's already anointing Paxton Lynch or Jared Goff or Connor Cook. But in truth, all the NFL scouts are looking for the guy, and none of those three guys are the guy. This Carson Wentz is going to be at the Senior Bowl with all the scouts. I've gotten texts from 3 or 4 GMs saying he's the first quarterback on our board. North Dakota State, 6'6", big arm, Carson Wentz. He's coming off a wrist injury, and just wait. Next week, everyone's going to be at the Senior Bowl. The Carson Wentz train is going to start, and you're going to say, who the hell is Carson Wentz? Remember, you heard it here.
And Jason Whitlock shared a story about a pricey trip to Vegas.
2 years ago, I knew Baylor was going to beat Creighton in the NCAA tournament. They were getting 3 points, and I knew they were going to win by 30. And so I went over to Vegas, and I won $18,000 on that game. And I'm happy as hell, and I'm walking back to my hotel room, and I stop at a craps table. And in 37 minutes, I lost $47,000. I walked to my room, walked back down, and hopped on a plane back to Los Angeles, and I took a year off from going to Vegas.
This has been Best Thing I Heard This Week. Tune in weekdays at noon Eastern.